If you've ever loved someone who pulls away right when things get real, you've probably been told to just give them space about 100 times. Here's the problem. That advice is incomplete, and it might actually be part of why nothing's changing. By the end of this video, you're going to understand something about avoidant partners that most relationship content skips entirely. And it changes how every single one of these habits actually works. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. By habit 5, you're going to find out that the thing you've been proudest of, staying calm, staying patient, not reacting, might actually be the exact thing keeping this stuck. Not because patience is bad, because most of us aren't actually doing it. We're just performing it really well. Stick around, because that one changes everything that came before it. Quick thing before we start. None of this is a manipulation tactic to unlock someone emotionally unavailable. These are standards a secure person holds naturally. If you're doing any of this and quietly disappearing as a person in the process, that's not love. That's self-abandonment with better branding. Habit 1. Give space without keeping score. Everyone says give them space. But here's what nobody explains. Space only works if it's not secretly a performance. Psychologists have found that avoidant partners often use distance as a way to lower emotional intensity, when closeness starts to feel like too much, too fast. That's the textbook part. Here's what people miss. If you give space while quietly keeping score, counting the hours, rehearsing what you'll say when they resurface, they can feel that shift in your energy the second they come back. Real space has no invoice attached. When someone doing real self-work gets space with no strings on it, they usually come back sooner than expected, on their own terms. But if they take unlimited space and still vanish for days with nothing on the other side, repeatedly, that's not regulation. That's distance being used as an exit. Habit 2. Stop taking their pullback personally. This is the first major shift you need before the last habit makes sense. When an avoidant partner pulls back after intimacy, it feels personal, like you did something wrong, or you're too much. But attachment researcher John Bowlby's original framework suggests something different. Early attachment patterns form around who a person had to become to stay emotionally safe as a kid, long before you existed. So when they pull away after a good moment between you two, they're not rejecting you specifically. They're reacting to an old threat that closeness used to mean losing themselves. You just happened to be standing there when the alarm went off. That doesn't make it hurt less. But it does mean you can stop performing forensic analysis on your last text message. It usually wasn't about the text. If that reframe just hit you a little different, go ahead and drop a like. Not for me, just so I know I should keep going at this depth, because it gets more specific from here. Here's the part I need you to actually sit with. None of this means you're supposed to love someone into becoming secure. Attachment patterns form early, and research building on Bowlby's work has shown they shift slowly, usually through years of conscious effort or therapy, not through a partner being patient enough. These habits aren't a fix. They're a test of whether the door is even open. Genuinely curious about something. Are you more the anxious one or the avoidant one in your relationships? A lot of people watching videos like this assume they're the safe, secure partner trying to fix someone else, when actually, they're anxiously managing someone's nervous system as a full-time job. Tell me where you actually land, because the answers on this always surprise me. And before we get to the last two habits, there's one behavior almost every anxious partner mistakes for progress. If you miss it, these next habits won't work the way you think. Habit 3. Stay steady through the small withdrawals. Here's something that rarely gets said out loud. Avoidant partners often run tiny, almost invisible withdrawals. A delayed text, a slightly cooler tone, not as manipulation, but as an unconscious check. Will this person abandon themselves to chase me, or will they stay steady? Bowlby describes something called protest behavior, the anxious escalation people do when they sense a bond is threatened, chasing harder, needing reassurance immediately. Here's the part that gets mistaken for progress. Protesting can feel like communicating your needs. But if you protest every small withdrawal, you unintentionally confirm the exact fear driving the pullback. That closeness means someone loses their own footing. When you stay steady through the small stuff, instead of escalating, an avoidant partner working on themselves often relaxes measurably over time, sometimes without ever naming why. But if steadiness on your end just gets met with cold indifference every time, like your calm is expected but never noticed or returned, that's not someone adjusting. That's someone comfortable being the only one who never has to try. Habit 4. Say what you mean, skip the test. One researcher's work on couple dynamics points to something counterintuitive. Avoidant partners aren't actually afraid of honesty. They're afraid of guessing wrong. Ambiguity is what triggers the shutdown, not truth itself. Think about the difference between, "I'm fine," said in a flat voice, and, "I felt a little hurt when you canceled last minute. Can we talk about it?" The first one is a test. They have to guess what's wrong, and they'll usually guess wrong, which confirms their fear that closeness means constant failure. The second one gives them nothing to decode. There's no trap hidden in it. So when you say exactly what you mean, calmly, without a test baked into it, you remove the guessing game entirely. That's disarming in a way vague hints never are. Habit 5. Make your calm real, not performed. Here's the uncomfortable part I promised you. Now you can probably see why every habit we've covered either works or completely falls apart depending on one thing: whether your calm is genuine or performed. A lot of what gets called being patient in these situations isn't actually patience. It's anxiety wearing a quieter outfit. You're still waiting for a specific outcome, still tracking their every move, just doing it silently instead of out loud. Researchers Simpson and Gangestad, who've studied relationship dynamics extensively, suggest securely behaving partners can genuinely influence an avoidant partner toward more security over time. But only when that calm is actually real, not something being held together while everything underneath is falling apart. If your nervous system is white-knuckling through every habit on this list, they can usually tell. The work was never just on them. If this changed the way you see your own relationship, send it to someone who's been carrying the same confusion. Sometimes the biggest breakthrough isn't learning a new technique. It's finally realizing you've been solving the wrong problem. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.